All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kodash, double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Stone, Shalom to the elect pushing this word in truth and in sincerity, with the hope of receiving mercy of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai is the name of His only begotten Son. You so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Israelites according to the prophecies that are written in the scriptures. I want to make it known that the RFID microchip is the mark of the beast. The miracle drug is the precursor to the mark of the beast. So I'm going to go straight into this lesson dealing with the keepers of the house. Because as you have no false flag and distractions out there right now, in which people don't really understand what's really going on here. Because the famine is creeping up on people and them don't have a clue what's coming, yo. The lack of bread is at your doors, yo. So let's jump straight into this. This is Ecclesiastes 12, verse 3. In the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble. So we're in the time in which the keepers of the house start tremble right now, because the man watch the economy and I see the state of import and export, produce, you see me, transport chain, you see me, which is supply chain, you see me, and what the man forecast is not good, yo. You see me? Them see a fall in the economy. And right now, as far as the economy is going, man, there's no way to bring back the economy. So let's run this clip so you can get a better understanding of what I'm saying.
In a recent article, the financial expert and founder of Matterhorn Asset Management in Gold, Switzerland, Egon von Greyes, has described how the Federal Reserve has cursed the United States of America by debasing the value of our currency. The downfall of our republic started exactly 50 years ago when central bankers and Nixon decided to turn all real assets, including gold, into worthless paper, creating the perfect setup for an irreversible financial catastrophe. That decision came at a cost that Nixon probably wasn't anticipating. Since 1971, after hundreds of trillions of artificial dollars started to be injected into the economy and markets, the dollar has seen its value collapse by 98%. Many other leaders throughout history have done what Nixon did, and if he had known this before, he would have realized that no currency has ever survived this sort of monetary policy. When will they ever learn? Apparently the answer is never. History can only teach lessons for those who are willing to listen. The story repeats itself because our leaders insist to make the same mistakes. Under these policies, every single currency throughout history has been debased until it has reached zero value. As von Greyes outlines, it seems incomprehensible that presidents and central bankers have not learned they will all play the role that their predecessors have in destroying the nation's currency. With their arrogance, they are all obviously hoping they can pass the baton on so that it will launch. And because most leaders have a relatively short reign in relation to the lifespan of a currency, they often escape, even though guilty, writes the expert, noting that at the time, Nixon bought the dollar a few more years before sparking its inevitable decay. From those years on, not only did our central bank's monetary policies have changed forever, but society just wasn't the same anymore. Order, discipline, courtesy became rare traits. Respect started to disappear from schools and families. Turbulence, conflicts.
And when you listen the things them we hear me say, yo, you see me, our society start become literally degenerate, yo, start go backward. But the main reason is because, as it is written in Isaiah 24, I'm going to start at verse 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. So this is approaching the earth right now, yo. But because of the leaders of society implementing these unjust laws and righteous decrees, that's why the earth is in that state right now, yo. But as it is written in, let me get to that from Matthew. This is Matthew 24. Verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. You hear what the scripture say? Because iniquity shall abound, man. But why iniquity abound? So let's go to why it's in that state. This is, no, it's supposed to be Habakkuk 1 verse 4. Yeah. Therefore the law is slack, and judgment doeth never go forth. For the wicked doeth compass the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. So the wicked compass the righteous, man, and I make unrighteous decree. So wrong judgment proceeded, but not that alone. It is written in Proverbs. I want to say, let's see. Yeah, this is Proverbs 12 verse 26. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduceth them. So that's why people in other state there, yo. Is it? So let's jump back into it.
And unrest have only intensified up until this day. As the market strategist highlights, all eras go through cycles, and the worst part of the cycle is what we are.
Hi everyone, and welcome to today's
triple
play option strategy
presentation. Come on, bring what a precept
Today
on that point that I'm just
experiencing right now. Moral and ethical values are gone. Chaos has taken over.
Let me read back this precept one more time in Matthew, because as he made mention of that, this is Matthew 24 verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
This is not new in history. Regularly happens at the end of major eras or cycles. Von Greyer's.
Alright, major what? Eras and cycle. So let's do this now. This is Matthew 24 verse 6. So like, yeah, this is Matthew 24 verse 3. And as he sat upon the mount of the Olives, the disciple came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And that word right there represents an age, man. Aeon. You see me? A period of time in which this is Esau's time to rule right now, man. But we're seeing the fall of his kingdom, man. Because as it is written, Esau is the end of the world, man. End of this age. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, man, which is the kingdom of heaven.
Explained. This happened, for example, at the end of the Roman Empire, as Rome disintegrated economically and morally. Decadence was rampant then, as it is today. So were debts and deficits. So dissolution of values and principles are clearly a consequence.
So which country them equate what take place over America to? Rome. Why is that so? Why is that so? Hey man, because America is a splitting image of Romeo. This is the second leg of the Roman Empire. So this is Revelation 13 verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and that represent America and their political system. The Democrats and the Republicans. Just like in the ancient Rome, you have the plebeians and the patricians. So let's continue. And he spake as a dragon, going into these draconian laws. Even right now, what get approved now? And we start hearing them mention of mandate. Amen. Verse 12, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him. What that represent? Rome. And he caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And that's talking about who? The Roman Empire, man. And all them worshiping, talking about the system of democracy pushed through the four corners of the earth, yo. So that's just the structure of people political structure them parliament or them government in these different countries, and see if them now the splitting that's a splitting replica of America, yo.
Of financial and economic dysfunction. The fact that since the 1960s, the United States government has increased the federal debt by the trillions every year is a clear sign of chronic disease, and that something is terminally broken in our system. Ask the expert, if the U.S. government for over 60 years has become increasingly more decadent, both economically and morally, how can we expect the people to behave differently? The big problem is that, as opposed to other countries who faced a similar decay because of the size of the U.S. economy and the reserve currency status of the dollar, the consequences are remarkably deeper and much more threatening. We're now witnessing the growth of the most splendid financial bubble ever recorded. The current asset bubbles have taken astronomical proportions. These are central banks' balance sheets, where we can see that bubbles are now going exponential. This graph illustrates that since the great financial crisis started in 2006, the balance sheets of our four biggest central banks have gone up by sixfold. But the 2020 recession has triggered an explosive growth of our central bank's balance sheets, something that was never before seen.
So this is Habakkuk 2. I'm going to start at verse 4, yo. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with the clay, and that represent the death. And what America do when them, what America do, that's why them have to remove the dollar from the gold standard, yo. Because the governments of the world start to say America print more dollar than the gold what them have in reserve, yo. Amen. All their wickedness are get revealed, man. So hope this was a defined week. With that I want to say Kalalal. Yahweh Bashim Yoshai. Bashim Raka Kwadash. Shalom.